Hello, it's Tony. We've been approved. All right, when can I start? This Thursday. When do you need it? Next Thursday. No, I gotta move some stuff around. See you tomorrow. When you get the call that someone wants you to paint their brand new $200,000 automobile, you better say yes. What is it? I'll give you some clues. Weighing in at a staggering 6,900 nice pounds, equipped with 4-wheel drive with tungsten carbide studded tires. And power on those beefy tires are 4 brushless AC electric motors, pushing out 24 North American buff horses, getting it to a screaming top speed of 12 miles per hour, and it only comes in a convertible. From the wildest fantasy of a madman named Frank into reality, this is none of the information you needed to know to watch me paint a Zamboni! If you don't know what a Zamboni is, that means you probably don't watch a lot of hockey. And you probably prefer sports where $1 million babies at fake hurt every 5 seconds.
Everybody hurts.
Anyway, back in the good old days of hockey, it took about an hour and a half in between games to get the ice resurfaced. A crew of 4 to 5 people would go out there with squeegees and shovels and hose it down with hot water. In fact, it was customary of the losing team of the hockey game to hose down the ice afterwards, hence the term hoser. Frank Zamboni saw this as a massive waste of time and thought he could build something better to relieve the problem. So he built something that looks like, well, I built it. So he built a contraption that both collects all the snow off the surface, cuts the ice nice and smooth, and then puts hot water on there so that every time it is a glass-like surface. Hence, the Zamboni brand was established. So the Metroparks Toledo is gonna let me paint their brand new Zamboner. I mean, this is a dream since I was a kid. No joke. I've been a hockey nut since I was a bantam. I played in high school. Hell, I even played now. Not good, just like playing. A Zambo on the ice means it's gonna be fun soon. Speaking of fun, it's time to pack up for this road trip. Thanks, bud.
You're welcome, Dad.
Pack my
supplies.
I will do it for the good of the film. Is he allowed to do that?
And slamming big body doors, old school box Chevys and Lex, 88s with the boom in the back. So what you swinging in?
So I didn't really have a whole lot of time to get this Zamboni project done. So we're gonna kind of like Tarantino this film a bit. Not like that, with the timeline. We're gonna chop it up a little bit. I set up a mini mural in my garage. That way I can kind of further explain details and kind of show you the techniques a little bit slower. Oh, that? It's just a little mural I did for trick-or-treaters this year.
Deep in the dark with the art to rip the charts apart. The vandal, too hot to handle your battle.
Anyway, invert your design. and then throw it in the projector. I'll put a link in the description. Pick a marking utensil, hit the lights and get a tracing. You can see that inverting your image makes it a lot easier to follow in the dark. Now that your basic sketch has been transferred, you gotta set up indoor exhaust. The only thing left to do now is grab some paint, beat the devil out of it. When you're doing a graffiti mural, think of it as like shingles on a roof. You want to start with the farthest background, then kind of put the midground down, then the foreground. And you want to repeat this process in different chunks. As far as the skyline goes, these buildings, we're breaking them down into simple shapes with just shadows on one side, light source on the other. Guess who we learned that from?
And it's still fun.
We're going to add some atmosphere haze or bokeh effect.
You can do it. You can do it.
It doesn't look like much now, but it will become more relevant as we add more layers. Midground starts getting a little bit more detailed, a little bit more contrast. You can see I just use simple lines for distant trees and silhouettes of blue trees coming forward. No line work, no detail, it's just simple silhouettes.
Let's decide. Maybe there's a happy tree, evergreen tree. He lives right there.
You can see that the size, color, contrast, and placement really starts adding that depth. Adding wind adds motion. You see this a lot with smoke, wind, clouds, all this kind of atmospheric stuff really helps kind of make a still image move. On one side I did a quick ghostly swirls that are a little transparent, and on the other side it has a more solid effect. The only difference between these two is the distance of the can from the canvas. I primarily use stencils just for texture, staying light with one side and then more solid on the other. Transparent paints are excellent for adding lighting and shadows. In this case, I'm using transparent purple to give some chilly shadows here and there. Went a little overboard with it.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
It's just paint. More paint fixes most errors. Here's a slick trick for some snow. Take one of those crappy stock caps, intentionally clog it, then put light pressure on the back of the cap. If you get the pressure right, it'll start spitting paint instead of spraying it. This spit effect is perfect for snow or for stars. Side 2. Look, I know the lettering looks a little janky. We're gonna clean it up at the end, but we're gonna skip all this background stuff on this side. All right, so we made it to the main course, the foreground, AKA the focal point. Spray paint can only produce lines that are about 1 inch thick at its thinnest. So to thin line work, we do the lines first and then cover half the lines up with the fill color. This is called a cutback. And just like the background, start the furthest back and start adding more chunks coming forward. This technique is tough and it produces thinner lines. The other way to do it is line work last. This will give you thicker, bolder lines and generally be a little bit more playful look. Since the cap have like a rounded end on the lines, you can use cutbacks to achieve sharp, tapered lines. The left side of the canvas is a lot softer, it has a hazier look. These techniques are geared more towards the illustrative and realistic look like you would see with an airbrush. Where the right side is a lot more solid shaded, bolder, graphic, logo looking vibe. Kind of like a vector or a cartoon. Which is better? I use both. Brush painting with spray paint kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, but sometimes you got to do it. In this case, for the lettering, you know, spray paint can only go so thin, and when you're doing really delicate letter like this, the brush is just king. Now, as far as brushes and technique and all that stuff, I'm not that good to teach you. That might be its own video down the road. You're gonna take your spray paint, you're gonna spray it into the side of the cup and just collect all that paint.
And then?
Dip and rip, baby. Spray painting letters is easy, but spray painting fonts is not. The brush ain't faster, but it's more precise. Lastly, my love for the Zamboni is tied to my love for my old man. You know, my pops ain't around anymore to see these murals, so I make them a part of them. With that, I'm going to show you my more professional side.
Professional what?
I love the way this all turned out. And you might be kind of curious, why is one side of the Zamboni so plain? Well, they're gonna be putting some decals on that side. It's really gonna get like NASCAR'd out. Dude for damn! Woo! And I didn't want the background to be fighting with these add-ons. You know, with this mural under my belt, I'm really considering a name change. Did you ever think that you had a good idea and it just turned out to be a goblin? Jesus. If you want to learn more about graffiti murals and the process and stuff like that, highly recommend that you check out the other video I did, Graffiti Murals 101. It's a little bit more technical and in-depth, like on the cans and the caps and all that stuff. It might kind of help you understand what we talked about today. Also, I'm sorry for the overkill on the green screen. I got a new toy and I just wanted to play with it.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Oh, it's time for some Pepsis. Huge thank you to Metroparks Toledo for really just letting me do this and live out a fantasy. Also, huge shout outs to Large Carbs and Rux Ton. They're the ones that give me the background music for these videos. And I'll see you next shift.
Because again, it's definitely a reason to smile. The ribbon at Glass City Metro Park has officially opened for ice skating this season. It's with a brand new Zamboni they have to top it all off. So our photojournalist Cheyenne Katsura spoke with one local artist who saw this new opening as an opportunity to make East Toledo a more colorful place. Check it out.
I caught wind that the ribbon was going to be getting a brand new Zamboni, so I kind of sent them a proposition before they even had time to think about what to do with it. So they took me up on my offer to spray paint their Zamboni, and I couldn't be happier about it. Believe it or not, I've always wanted to paint a Zamboni. Hockey's been in our blood since birth, and you know, the sight of a Zamboni means the game's going to be starting soon, so it's such a weird contraption. I've always loved it. They were a little surprised to see me show up with a belt sander the second day that they actually had ownership of it, but we had to sand it down, prime it, and then paint it. And it took about a good 4 or 5 days, but you can't deny the results. They gave me a lot of artistic freedom on this. They said, what's your interpretation of Boggs, their mascot? I drew up Boggs ice skating, so that way from a small distance it looks like a giant frog's ice skating on the ribbon, and it's sure to get a smile out of anyone. It truly is an honor. You know, the parks have been a part of our family, and we utilize the parks just about every week. And to be part of the ribbon here, I mean, this is just a fun place to hang out with the family. And it's so fun to watch the kids' faces light up as your art rolls by. Come out to the ice skating ribbon. It is a dang good time. They got good food, they got good times, and they've got good music going too. Not to mention a good-looking Zamboni.